Good evening and welcome to tonight's Zoning Board of Appeals hearing. Let me introduce some members of town government that assist this board. To my left is Vincent Pizzulli, attorney to the board. To his left is Blaise Donadio, a planner in the planning department. You're all here tonight seeking relief from the Smithtown zoning ordinances, and it's our job to try to help you achieve the relief you are requesting whenever possible. It's up to you to provide us with precise, accurate information so we as a board can make a decision based on the facts that you present here tonight. We as a board must consider the 5 following conditions, and they're listed here for you. Number 1, whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of the variance. Number 2, whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some other means. Number 3, whether the variance is substantial. Number 4, whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood. And number 5, whether the alleged difficulty was self-created. Procedures for tonight's meeting. Cases will be called in the order they are advertised. When you are called, please present your certificates of postings and mailings to Mr. Donadio. Then you will be asked to go to the podium where you'll state your name and address for the record and proceed to tell us why you need your variance. At the end of your presentation, if anyone in the audience would like to speak on your case, they will be given one opportunity to do so. Then the applicant can come back to the podium to answer their concerns. Once the public hearing is closed, no further information will be accepted concerning the case. There are 3 ways to find out about your case. You can stay after the hearing, but there's no guarantee that your case will be acted on tonight. You can call the planning office tomorrow, or you can wait and be notified by mail. We do have 2 adjournments tonight. The first adjournment is case number 18119, Smithtown Venture, LLC. That has been adjourned to March 26th. And the next case is case 18109, Walter Sonoza. Anybody here for that case? That has been adjourned to April 9th.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first case on the agenda, case number 18117, James and Emily Cianci, Rolling Hills Drive, Wisconsin. The location of the property, the west side of Rolling Hills Drive, 788 feet south of Nichols Road. The property is zoned R15. The applicant is requesting a special exception to permit temporary living quarters for a parent.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Vincent Tremarco. I represent the applicant. I've submitted the affidavit of posting and mailing to Mr. Donadio. As the board can see from the recommendation of the planning department, it states we meet all general criteria as well as specifics. If you want me to go through them, I will.
That's not necessary.
I'm sorry?
Not necessary.
Okay, thank you.
This house is in the process of being built right now,
That's
correct?
correct, yes.
Okay. And it'll conform to the recommendations of the PAR.
Absolutely, and there are plans on file with the building department.
Right. Thank you. Anybody have any questions on this application?
No question.
No. Planning?
No, thank you.
No. Is there anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application?
I didn't bring that paper they sent us. Do you need that to speak?
No?
Okay. I just wanted to ask.
Come on, please come up to the microphone. Good evening.
Good
Could you
evening.
state your name, spell your last name, and give you the address, please?
Yeah, my name's Ed Barnosky. I live at 21 Rolling Hills Drive, Wisconsin. Earnoski. I just wanted, we were curious in the neighborhood, as it says it's a temporary variance. So exactly what does that mean, a temporary? So say the parent moves out, does that now become possibly just an apartment that anybody can move into?
No, it has to be turned back into living quarters for the people that own the property.
Okay. And the other question I had is, there's typically, I guess in zoning, a buffer between the property line and the house. Is that to the foundation or any other structures that are built there? Because what I'm asking about, there's a stairway that was put in outside of the foundation that's only maybe 9 or 10 feet away from the property line. I was wondering if that's
It,
considered part of the, buffer.
I believe the stairway's on the side you're talking about.
Right.
It looks like, according to the survey, it's 16 feet away from the property line.
I don't believe it is.
That's what it says on the survey.
How can we get that checked?
It's-
Yeah, well, because I live right there,
uh-huh.
and so,
All right,
I'm not, I didn't
I'll bring
go-
Mr. Tramarko back up to
Okay,
answer that.
yeah, if
Okay.
someone could look into that,
All right.
I'm not sure if it's necessary to have that kind of easement into the basement or why it's there, but
Mhm.
it definitely looks like it's within 10 feet of the property line.
All right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes?
if I may. You are permitted to have an outside basement entrance. The only time that the setback of the stairway going down into the basement is required to meet the side yard setback is if there is a roof or an awning that projects over the stairway. So
Okay.
if there is no covering over the stairway, it's considered not required to meet the side yard setback.
Okay, so what you're saying is allowed?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So the temporary, is there a time limit on the temporary variance? Does it go for like years, 2 years, 5 years?
Well, they have to file a covenant.
Sure.
It runs, what, 3 years?
If the application is approved, the applicants are required to file a covenant with the Suffolk County Clerk's Office. What that does is it basically puts it on the books, that they now have a temporary living quarters with the county and with the town, specifically the building department. The building department is required every 3 years to do a physical inspection of the temporary living quarters and also to find out if a immediate relative is still occupying the temporary living quarters. If it's vacant, or if there's no longer an immediate relative, mother, father, brother, sister, son, daughter, occupying the residence, it has to be converted back as part of the single-family home.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Come on up. Good evening.
My name is Lori Malone, M-E-L-L-O-N-E, and I live at 15 Rolling Hills Drive. And I can tell you that entrance is not a basement. That is a side entrance to that house, to that separate apartment living space, because I've seen it. I've seen the workers there and spoken to them, number one. Number two, I want to guarantee that this is not going to end up with illegals living in it eventually, because, or people who have come out of prison, because we already have that now. And you tell me that the town is supposed to, every 3 years, keep up to date. Well, they don't. We already know that. So what guarantee are we going to get? I don't mind that it's a parent. I don't mind if it's a family member whatsoever, but we want a guarantee on this road. We have children on this road. This is a family area. We don't want to end up with the police on our road on a regular basis, which we seem to have now and then because of issues in one house that nobody has done anything about in the town.
All right.
So what guarantees are you going to give the people of
I'm going
Rolling
to
Hills?
bring Mr. Tramarko back up, and he'll
not
explain to you who's going in the house.
Hi, I'm Emily Cianci. I'm,
Okay. Could you state your name again, spell your last name, give the
Sure.
address for the record,
It's-
please?
it's Emily Cianci, C-I-A-N-C-I. And it will be my mother who's living with us, and she'll be living with us because our son has a health condition that requires some extra care and supervision. And we would never, because of that health condition, even think about having anyone else live in that space in the house. And I have 2 young kids myself. So
right.
that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you. Would you like to add anything, Mr. Tramarko?
Well, the only thing is, and you've said it and Blaze indicated it, every 3 years, the building department makes an inspection. They ask the question, is this a relative? And if it's not a relative, and if Cianci decides to rent it out to a stranger, they're in violation of the code, and they will be brought into court. So there really is good guarantees and controls that it will stay a mother-daughter. As far as the other statement, with respect to the side door or cellar entrance, these plans have all been approved. There was no variances required, so we're in total conformance with the town. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Tramarko. Can I have a motion to close the application, please?
So moved.
Second?
Moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you.
You want to hand me your
No.
Oh, excuse me.
Well, after she came up, if the young lady came up, I thought, no.
You didn't ask if anybody else.
I already closed the case, ma'am.
What?
I just closed the case.
But you didn't, after.
I just
you
ca-
came up to address her question, you didn't say, does anybody else have a question?
I just closed the case.
But you didn't ask if anybody else wanted to.
I apologize for that. I'm sorry, I closed the case. I thought your husband was speaking for your family.
You know what? What is that?
What?
If I have something to say, don't assume that my husband speaks for me. So the case is closed, but I would still like to ask my question.
Ma'am, I'm the board's counsel. The process before this board is for the applicant to make a presentation. The chair opens the floor to anyone who's interested in the application, and then the applicant has an opportunity to respond. And that's the end of the case, and that's why the chairman closed the
But
hearing.
he didn't ask.
He does
when
not
she
have
was
to
done.
ask. Your turn, your opportunity
Wow.
to speak was when he asked
So
if
why did I
anyone...
bother to come?
I don't know. I can't answer that question.
Wow. Really?
Call the next case.
All right, next case.
Next case. The next case on the agenda is case number 18118, Rachel and Ross Shoulder, 35 Heather Crescent, Comac. The location of the property, the west side of Heather Crescent, 163 feet north of Split Rail Place. The property is zoned R10. The applicant is requesting a special exception to permit temporary living quarters for parents.
Good evening.
Hi, I'm Ross Shoulder. I live at 35 Heather Crescent, and we put in the application for the addition for my home for my parents to be able to move in. We got the report in the mail that said it was recommended for approval. We filed all the necessary documents. I don't know if you have any more questions for me about this, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
I will ask.
Okay, sure.
Does anyone on the board have any questions on this application?
No question.
Planning?
As Mr. Shoulder pointed out, planning did prepare a planning advisory report recommending approval of the application.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? Sir, are you? No. No? Okay. Can I have a motion to close the application, please?
So moved.
Second?
Moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
The next case on the agenda, case number 18120, Frank Casucci, 113 7th Street, St. James, the location of the property, the northeast corner of 7th Street and Lincoln Avenue. The property is zoned R10. The applicant is requesting a variance to reduce the side yard from 12 feet to 6 feet for a proposed 330-square-foot detached garage.
Just a regular. Give me this in the meantime. What the hell? It's only one. Not here.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Jeff Leonard, architect for Mrs.
One
Kisuchi.
sec, could I have the applicant first?
Oh, sure.
I need the applicant.
Good evening.
Good evening. Could you state your name and address for the record, please?
My name is Frank Casucci, at 113 7th Street, St. James, New York.
And you would like this gentleman to speak on your behalf?
Yes, please.
Fine, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can we have the,
Now, I would need your name and address. Spell your last name, too.
Sure. Jeff Leonard, Leonard, and the address is 12 Lewis Street, Setauket, New York. And I'm the architect with Mr. and Mrs. Kisuchi. So as you can see in our application, we are requesting a variance to reduce the required side yard from 12 feet to 6 feet, and also to permit an accessory structure in the required side yard. This is for a detached garage, and it is a replacement of a garage which recently burned down in a fire last summer. And this is the rebuild of it, which is a slightly different configuration. It's actually a little further from the side yard lot line than the previous garage was. The previous one was 3.8 feet, whereas this is 6. Otherwise, in size, size and character, it's similar to the one that was destroyed before.
Right, it's 330 square feet.
330
total.
square feet total. That's correct. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone on the board have any questions on this application? No. Planning?
No, thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? No? Can I have a motion to close the application, please?
second?
Moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next case on the agenda, case number 18098, Salma Khan, 53 Halleck Road, Smithtown. The location of the property, the east side of Halleck Road, 428 feet north of North Avenue. The property is zoned R10. The applicant is requesting variances to permit environmentally sensitive land to be altered where depth to groundwater is equal to or less than 10 feet for an existing 15 by 24 above-ground pool with an attached 323 square foot deck.
Good evening.
My name is Salim Khan. I'm speaking on behalf of my mom, Salma Khan. Basically, sorry? S-A-L-I-M. M as in Mary. Basically,
Before you begin, Mr. Khan, please approach the bench. I just need you to, you forgot to sign the power of attorney. I'll notarize it for you.
Basically, I filed for the, I didn't know when I bought the house, I didn't know there was no permit on above-ground pool. From my understanding, I thought you don't need it, but anyway, the pool was already there. When I bought it, I was pretty much very close to closing, and the bank told me there is no permit. So I figured, okay, it's not a big deal. That's what I was told. Until the town's inspector came, and he told me what I should be doing as far as the permit goes, which I've been doing it for the past 1.5 years. And I've been taking off from work, going back and forth. They denied it, so they told me you have to get a variance. And I've been doing that. I've been spending a lot of money, time, everything, and here I am. So I have no clue. I've never done this.
All right.
So I don't know. That's pretty much the whole thing is, the whole situation.
All right, fine, thank you. Anybody on board have any questions on this application?
No question.
No. Planning?
No, thank you.
No. Is there anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? No. Can I have a motion to close the application, please?
Second?
Moved and second, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. And that concludes our meeting for tonight.